we're gonna get this going. Here's what I want. I want you guys to do a slow clap, okay? Because it's middle, it's after lunch, everybody's tired, so we're gonna bring up the next speaker, and I want to start with a slow clap, all right? But before I do, I need to tell you about him. His name's Rick White. He started Fuzzy White Technology. This is his company that he started, and then it splintered off into another group with Jason Hawes called Fuzzy White Hawes. And where they make, which is funny because Jay doesn't have any hair, so I guess his face is weird to be fuzzy. But he's going to talk to you about the taps, like the application for your Droid or iPhone, and it's really interesting. And so to get the energy going, we're going to start with a clap, and then we're going to get going. All right, ready? Here we go. A little fast out of the gate, but we'll do it. All right, everybody, give it up for Rick White.
Thank you very much, Mike. I feel like I'm in an Amway rally. How's everybody doing? Did you all enjoy Ben's presentation? Me too, except I'm nervous after it. Because he talked about con artists, and I'm thinking about all these visual clues. Like, I'm not a con artist, this is all real. But I am an East Coast Italian, and I'm pretty sure my Uncle Luigi is a fanatic narcissist. And his wife Carmela, she's a paranoid schizotypal. So those are two things I learned from Ben. No, it's great to be here. And I'm going to talk to you today. Most of this talk is going to be a half hour, and most of it's going to be a demonstration of the actual TAPS app, not a video. You'll see here in a second, but I have this wired to the screen. So we'll be doing some demonstrations and talking to you about the app. A couple questions first. How many have heard of the TAPS app? We've seen it used on the show. They use it pretty much every episode now. Okay. How many haven't?
And then by the last.
Cool. How many have a couple bucks so you want to shoot me? Good. I feel great. All right. So that's good. We'll talk about a lot of stuff today. But first, tell you a little bit about Fuzzy White Technology. We were founded in 2010, 14 years of application development experience, and we're based right here in Colorado, Centennial, Colorado. So there's Fuzzy White, and then last year at this very event, I came to take my son, Zach, who I was just talking to up here, for his 19th birthday. And in the meet and greet, like you guys did last night, I went to Jason Hawes and I said, you need a mobile app. And he goes, I know, but they want to charge me $1 million. I said, well, let's talk. A year later, I'm speaking here. The app's been out since November of 2012. And it's doing great. So, Fuzzy White met Jason Hawes, and that equals Fuzzy White Hawes. There's our logo. So that's us. We have two current apps, the TAPS Advanced Paranormal System, which we're going to demonstrate today. We also have Haunted Graves. How many have heard about Haunted Graves? Anyone? It's a 99-cent game. It's mindless, and that's the response we get from everyone. It's totally mindless, and I can't stop doing it, and it's very fun. So you should check that out. So now, let's just, like I said, most of this is going to be hands-on demo of the TAPS app. So let's start with that. Isn't that cool? That's this iPad right here. And to prove it, I can push a button on it. Isn't that neat? I just want to do that, make sure you understand that for a reason. There's, everything that happens in the TAP app is real. It's based on science. It doesn't make any claims about what's paranormal or what's not paranormal. And if you'll notice, if you watch TAPS, Jason's the same way. Jason presents evidence to people, period. The reason I bring that up is there are several apps out there that have, turn it on and you see a ghost. There's a ghost radar and a blip in this, If people are used to that, they look at our app and they go, I turned it on, I don't see anything. Well, how many hours does Jason and the team spend in locations, right, where nothing happens? So it's actually, and we're going to demonstrate this today, but it's actually proof that this is an actual app and not just there for entertainment. So, let's start. I wonder if I'm going to be able to hold the microphone and Okay, so when you open the TAPS app, you can do a couple of things. You can either open a case or create a new case. I'm going to, oh, I lost, that's not good. You guys should have said something. Hold on a second. All right, we got to get this back up because it's very important. There it is. And since I have it sideways, it goes landscape and now it goes, all right, great. So there are two things you're presented with when you get to the app. You can either open a case or create a new case. And again, I'm going to be very, very specific and elementary, and this is not any kind of statement except that you wouldn't believe how many people can't get past the screen and call us on the help desk. So we're just going to go through all of it. If you don't have a case yet, you need to create one. Seems obvious, right? If you push open a case and you don't have a case, you're not going to see those two test ones that I have up there. Foo and test is going to be blank. So you want to go back and press create new case. In this create new case field, you're going to put information about your case. Every piece of evidence that you catch is going to be tied to this case. And so this is the overall information about your case. The one required field is the name of the case. So I'm going to type in Stanley. Now there's a button here down at the lower left that says Get GPS Info. This is a really cool feature that I'm not sure is going to work here because of the bad cell reception, but if you're in a place with a good reception, this works. Now, again, I'm going to attempt something that may not work, but it's not a bug, it's because of the cell location, the cell information. Yeah, and it's not going to work, and that's mainly because I have this tied to a network that only is this computer, so it can't speak out. But when you push that in your normal everyday life, it fills in the street, city, state, zip, latitude, longitude, and elevation. So you've got that information, which is really cool. Okay? Yeah, and see, it can't determine it at this time. All right, so we got a name in, we saved the case. Case successfully saved. Okay, you will see the three main sensors of the app here. And the top one is an EMF meter. The middle one is a geophone or vibration sensor. And the bottom is the digital audio recorder. Now, I want to bring up something that actually people ask a lot. We get in our help desk and someone even asked that here today. And they say, that's cool, but how can a phone or an iPad or an Android tablet be as good of a geophone as the little, what is it, $79 geophone box? Well, let's just talk about that kind of out at the outset because it really applies to everything you're going to see today. Do you guys know how much an iPhone costs? Like if you don't sign up for a plan?
A lot.
700.
And how much of it is phone? We use it mostly for the other things it does, right? So iPhones have a couple of sensors in them, and Androids as well, that are very, very important. One is the digital compass. It's important enough that you can get turn-by-turn navigation directions, right? How many have apps that do that? Where it can pinpoint right where you are at any moment in time, right? Well, how many of you know that EMF detection is really detecting fluctuations in the Earth's electromagnetic field, right? Well, you can use a digital compass to detect EMF. Now, that's the brilliant, okay, I won't say that word because it sounds egotistical. Some of the coolness of this app is that we were able, after 2,000 hours of programming total into this app, we were able to detect fluctuations in the compass that don't relate to you moving, and then quantify that fluctuation against milligauss that you see in your EMF meter. And let me show you how that works. It was many late nights for me. So I have a magnet, okay? I'm going to bring it into the app. Right? How many of you have done this with an EMF meter? To test your EMF meter, use a magnet. right? It's not tricks, it really works. That's an EMF meter, period, right? So that's exciting. Let's talk about a couple other features on the EMF meter real quick. You'll notice there's 5 controls. The upper right control is called auto record. Now, what you do is you first set the 2 fields below it, which are threshold and length. And let's talk about that. Threshold is an EMF level. Okay, so let's say I walk around a room and the ambient EMF field is 1 or 1.5. So if something spikes up to 2 or 2.5, that's something I want to be aware of, right? So I set a threshold maybe of 2 or 2.5. There you go. Now I say if it goes past 2.5, start recording. See if you can pick up any EVPs. This is what you can't do with an independent EMF meter and an independent digital recorder. But because they're in the same app, they function together. So watch, we're going to do that. We'll tell it record for 20 seconds. How many of you know that when you demonstrate software live, even if you're Bill Gates, something usually goes wrong? So we're hoping that doesn't happen today. I mean, that's a big thing on the internet, you know. They announce Windows 18 or 20 million and blows up in front of 1 million people. So if this goes over 2.5, you should see something happen in that bottom. Oh, I didn't turn it on. Very important. That top button. That turns on auto recording. You want to do that after you set those 2 fields, right? So now if it goes over 2.5, what's going to happen? It better. And it did. It's recording us right now. So here's what's cool about that. You leave this in a room, you leave it set, you go investigate somewhere else. You may come back and have received some recordings, and you didn't have to let it run the whole time and try to find that 10-second period in an hour's worth of recording. Make sense? Okay, this is a good time to show you flash mode, because we're going to talk about that in Geophone as well. Flash mode is cool. Here's what flash mode does. You see I turned it on the bottom? What flash mode does is if the EMF trigger or threshold is passed, the device will flash for you. It's the same with Geophone, which we'll talk about in a second. Here's where this is important. You can put it over there on the table. You know when you investigate, you're usually in the dark, right? If that starts flashing yellow, you're getting EMF hits over there. Start flashing red, you're getting Geophone vibration hits. Let's see if we can get some yellow going. So that's cool, because, and that's very useful. Jason's used that a bunch on the show and in his investigation, so that you can just set it over there and, hey, we gotta go over there. So that's the EMF meter. Any questions on that so far? It makes sense, right? It's just checking magnetic fields, not making a claim about paranormal. Yes, ma'am? That's a good question. We didn't talk about those last 2 buttons. Great question. One thing you can do is set the baseline and then reset the baseline. That's what those 2 buttons say. If you set the baseline, here's what that does. You can see that right now it's reading 0.5. Now, I have a couple magnets near it. Let me move them. So that's really saying that right around there, the ambient EMF is 0.4 milligauss. If you push set baseline, the bottom one, it sets that to 0. So what that does, it's really 0.6. It really is, its actual value is 0.6. But the actual values don't matter so much as the change in values. So now you set that baseline, you filter out, you don't have to worry about what was the ambient temperature or ambient EMF, it was 1.5, and then you have to subtract. This way you just make that 0. And now when something happens, you know you've got a hit. To reset it, you push the button above it, reset baseline, and the baseline is now actually what it is. To answer your question, yeah, every time you open the app, it's going to have the baseline reset, because you don't want to set it to something for every location, right? You want to figure out what's up with that location. All right, I think that's everything on the Android, I mean on the, I don't know where that came from, on the EMF meter. So now let's talk about the geophone. There is a sensor in most mobile devices called an accelerometer. The accelerometer is used when you guys use an app that maybe you've got to, kind of move this way or move that way, and the game starts responding to your movements. Well, here's the thing, you don't realize how sensitive that accelerometer is. But we can access that on a device, and I'm going to show you how sensitive it is. Essentially, this is going to detect vibrations, just like that's what a geophone does. But remember, this here is $700 worth of technology, as opposed to, I don't know, $75, whatever they are. So I'm going to turn on the sensor. Remember I told you about the red flashing, because I have flash mode on. All right? You see this slider? There's a slider here. Everybody seeing that? If I put that all the way to the left, let me tell you what, that is detecting. Oh, you can't see the red on there. That's interesting. That's really bright red. Let me show you. That is detecting. Let me put it down and be still for a second. Everybody be still. That's detecting vibrations on the Earth. That's geoseismic vibrations. That's how sensitive these devices are. Now watch. As I move it to the right, okay, we're making it less sensitive. So watch. So again, like with the EMF, you use this to filter out normal vibrations that are happening in your location. Maybe it's in the top of a building and it sways. If it's going off all the time, you got false alarms. But let me ask you, is that sensitive? Right? So, I hear this all the time, and sometimes from paranormal groups on the internet who poo-poo the fact that you can't use mobile devices for paranormal investigations. You have to use dedicated equipment. Listen, nothing against the dedicated equipment. It's time-tested and proven, and it works. But this app replaces about $700 worth of that equipment. And here's the thing. You already bought something worth $700. So if you can use it for other purposes, that's important. And again, that doesn't discredit the equipment. It's just there are a lot of people that can't fork that out all in one setting. If you already have a device, you might as well use it. Okay, the other thing that the geophone has is an alarm. So that can get annoying. You can turn it off. It'll beep to catch your attention. And again, it's got the concept of auto record and length. So you can say, if the geophone goes off, I want you to record for 5 seconds or whatever. And then turn that on. And when that happens, you've got recording going down at the bottom. And it stopped at 5 seconds. Make sense? Okay. So here's a couple cool concepts. Man, it's already 1:20. All right. One is that if you're using this on an investigation and you think, man, something's weird. I thought I saw something at the corner of my eye, or, something happened. You push this mark moment button, just push that button. That button says, hey, something happened at this moment, and I just want to record that moment. Okay? So a couple of things. We just manually marked a moment in time. If you set the threshold to auto-record in either the EMF meter or the vibration sensor, and the threshold gets passed, it will also mark that moment for you as well. What does that mean? Well, if you push Analyze Data, look what happens up there. This is a history of your important events in your case, okay? At 1:13:21 p.m., at 1:13 and 21 seconds, we had an EMF spike of 5.3 EMF. You see that? Check this out. If there was a recording happening during that time, you can play the recording, and if the recording was in the middle somewhere, it'll show you the moment in seconds where that event happened. So this is the power of having all of these things in a single device. You can't do that with an independent EMF meter and an independent geophone and an independent digital recorder unless you have very expensive DVR equipment with a time sync that you see on the show all the time, where they kind of, all right, this moment in time, I can hook them all together. The average one of us can't do that. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk about the digital recorder real quick. So once you've recorded, you push load audio. That was neat. And you can see all the recordings we've done since I started that case, because we've had some things trigger, and so you can listen to any of those recordings. And that one has like nothing in it. Let's see, we got one here. All right, well, let's just make one. I told you the Bill Gates story, right? Check, 1, 2. Should be hearing that. Oh, yeah, that's an important feature. I don't know if you ever heard of that volume control. It's a newfangled thing. Alright, there's something going on with these two devices, but I'm claiming Bill Gates phenomenon. Okay, so you can load audio, or you can go look at a whole list of your recordings, play them, or this is a great feature. You see upload? They'll upload to Dropbox. So you get a free Dropbox account, which is 2 gigabytes. Okay? You push that button, it uploads to Dropbox. Then you send the link for that recording to any of your friends to check it out. So that way you can share information. Let's see what else we've got here.
Go ahead.
Everybody with me so far? All right. So I'm going to wrap up real quick because I only get a half hour and I've used 23 minutes of it so far. So I'm going to wrap up, but then be here for questions, and I've got a few things to tell you in the wrap up. So, websites. www.fwhtech.com. That's Fuzzy White Hawes, fwhtech.com. You'll see our stuff and be able to contact us through that. So real quick, Fuzzy White Technology is the technical arm of Fuzzy White Hawes. It existed for years before I met Jason last year. And that's where our help desk is as well. So www.fuzzywhite.com. You can contact us there as well. The help desk. Where's Carissa? Carissa's in the back. See her waving her hand in the white? She heads up our help desk. She's also my daughter. Very smart. Anyway, if you check the reviews and what people are saying about us on social media, they'll say that we've got the best customer support they've ever seen. That's because of Carissa. So just call her. We'll figure it out. You got to understand, we are doing, without sounding again like a schmuck, we are doing groundbreaking stuff with mobile devices. So much so that we've been in contact with. I had to argue with Apple for a week to get them to allow me to not put this app is for entertainment purposes only. How many of you seen the Ghost apps? And they have to put that. And I told them, no, you got to understand. This really does things. It really senses vibrations. It really senses fluctuation in electromagnetic fields. And no one, very, very rarely do people convince Apple to relent. I've had other people come to me and say, you got them to not do that? This is important, and the reason I say that is there are people with ulterior motives on the internet. How many know this? There are people that will tell you that this is a waste of money and a toy, and it's just fake. But I hope what I've shown you is it does what it says it does. It detects EMF fluctuations, It detects geomagnetic stuff, and it records, even though you didn't hear the recording. Okay, so that's the fact. Okay, it's not a toy. So, at any rate, I'm getting on a soapbox here. If you love the app, this is really, really important. If you love the app, would you please give us a review and give us 5 stars? If you don't think it's worth 5 stars, don't give it 5 stars. But how many of you know, they say this in the restaurant business, right? If you love the food, you never tell anybody. If you don't like it, you tell everybody. Isn't that true? Well, that's happening with our app. There are haters. Any guesses how many apps are, how many units have been purchased? Any guess? And since November? 30,000. 30,000. We have 100 reviews. And, listen, and 50% of them are haters. So do me a favor. Don't do anything dishonest. But if you like the app, would you please make your voice known? That helps us be able to get new apps out to you. Make sense? Okay. And just like the restaurants say, if you don't like it, please give us the chance to make it right first. Some people just love to fling that on the internet. You know, it's about what Ben was saying. You know, they just want the attention of saying, Jason Haas wrote an app and I think it's garbage, you know. And they feel all excited about they got to slam Jason. You know what? Jason's broken a lot of ground. How many, I mean, this wouldn't be here, right? This event wouldn't be here if 20 years ago Jason didn't start doing what he was doing. So, please contact us, give us the ability to make it right. So now, hold on a second. I gotta stop that because it's too cool. At the end, I'm gonna give you there's some volume. That's probably why it didn't work. A little taste. We have another app called Haunted Graves. Haunted Graves, I told you, is just kind of fun. Well, we've got a new version coming out in probably the next week. How many of you have Haunted Graves? Got a new version coming out, and you can get a little thing called the Jason Helper, or the Hawesome Helper. And here's a video of it. Wait till you see this. The Hawesome Helper.
You sit right back. I got it.
So when you're overrun with ghosts, you push the Hawesome Helper, and he goes, hey, you sit right back. I got this one. And he kills all the ghosts on the screen. So it's a lot of fun. One little caveat I have to give before I leave, and that's this. Google changed its developer portal. So this is the area where you go if you're a developer and you pop that thing up there and it goes live and everybody buys it. Well, they used to, between the last release and this release, you could put it live and have it in this unpublished state so people could test it. I pushed it live, the new version of Taps for Android yesterday, but I wanted to put it in this state. It went live. It wasn't ready. So, give us a day, or at the most 2, on Android, and then please support the app. If you have the app, if you just got an update and it's not really working right on Android, come talk to us. We'll fix it. We'll get you taken care of. iOS is not affected, so it's stellar right now. But again, we appreciate your support. This is new stuff we're doing, and with people supporting us, we can continue doing it. So at this point, I'll take any questions. Yes, sir. The microphone is very sensitive. Now, you bring up a good point. It's you can buy, if you've ever seen Jason with the Taps app, he sometimes has this little square coming out of it, because he's bought a more sensitive microphone. You can get those for like 20 bucks, I think. So he feels the need to have even more sensitive, and again, that's a good idea. One thing you brought up that's really important. On iOS, how many know who makes the iOS devices? Apple, right? There is no company other than Apple that makes an iPhone or an Android. So guess what? As a developer, it's real safe to write for Apple. How many devices do you think are out there by different manufacturers that run Android? Let me tell you this, we've limited this app to just 4.0 and higher, which is ice cream sandwich. We are currently running on 900 different pieces of hardware. Here's the problem with that. That's 900 people interpreting what they think the Android operating system should do. So, again, the haters will say, yeah, but I've heard that on this device, the recording is weird. Again, I can't help some of that because it's the device. Some of it we can help. It's a bug we've never seen. You know why? Because I can't own 700 or 900 devices and test on everyone. So we just ask for a little grace on that so you guys can, if you find stuff like that, we're going to work with you. That's what we do. Any questions? Yes? Good question. Will the app be available on Windows phones? We've talked to Microsoft. You know what's funny? Microsoft contacted us about that. And we're thinking about it. To be frank, it's a lot of effort and it's a very small part of the market. So we have to kind of weigh that because it's a complete rewrite. And right now they own such a small share of mobile. But I won't say no, I won't say never. But it's not on the radar at this moment. Anything else? Anyone? Well, thank you very much. My wife, Kim, is over there. She's the director of operations, and we have a table in the back. Come talk to us. If you have any problems with the app, come talk to us. We're here all weekend. Thank you very much.